Satan, the bad child, the evil child, the enemy of God, the one that can't be redeemed because he's too evil, she's too evil, he's too evil, Satan. The bad one, Lucifer, the rebel angel. If Satan is the enemy of God, then why is it that right-wing conservative Christians, the ones who take the Christian Bible most literally, the New Testament, the good news of Jesus Christ, the most literally, the ones who say this is God's words and you can't not follow what this says if you're a true Christian, how come they seem to be the people, quite strikingly, who hate Muslims? Hate Muslims. Like to demonize Muslims. And how come is it that conservative right-wing Muslims, sometimes called radical Islamists, seem to hate Christians, and even more so, they hate Jews? And why is it that right-wing conservative Jews, the ones who take the Old Testament, which is the Holy Torah, the most literally, just as Muslims take the Quran very literally, why is it that the followers of Judaism, the Jews who are right-wing conservatives, tend to hate the Muslims? Strikingly. They are all the same God. Jehovah is Yahweh, is Allah. They are all the same God, three faces of the one God. So who is Satan in all of this? Who is Satan? He can't be the Jewish person, the Christian person, and the Muslim person all at the same time, or can he? Maybe it depends. Who is enslaved? Who is enslaved? Who is not free? That is the person who tends to be demonized by the powers that be. By God, the God people. They demonize the rebel as Satan. That's how it works. You know, Satan in hell, the devil boy, the 666 boy, the red hot lava boy. You know, dying in a volcanic eruption would be bad. But it probably, arguably, would not be as bad as being enslaved by a religious dictatorship, no matter what color or what type of religion that dictatorship is. Christian, Muslim, or Israeli. It makes no difference. Being a slave sucks. It really sucks. It probably, arguably, sucks worse than dying in a volcanic eruption. Satan, fire boy, lava boy, dead boy, rebel boy, murdered boy, enslaved boy. Who is Satan? What is Satan's prediction? 2 dates, 16th of June and 24th of June, 2018. Today is the 5th of June, 2018. Also, the 24th of November and the 16th of December, 2018. Dates to watch. Dates to watch for signs in nature, signs that act as a warning to humanity. Hey, guess what? There is worse than dying. Being a slave to an authoritarian government is worse than dying in a volcanic eruption. That is the message of Satan.
Rescue workers are struggling to find bodies under rivers of ash and mud that swept down from Guatemala's Fuego volcano. At least 62 people have died and hundreds more were injured following the deadly eruption. It's not called the Volcano of Fire for nothing, and yesterday it roared into life in the most deadly way. As pools of smoke soared into the sky, a spectacular outpouring of ash and molten rock blanketed the landscape below, engulfing entire villages. Many caught in its path ran in terror as scorching ash shot towards them. As desperate residents tried to escape, many became lost. Children and parents are still missing.
I only managed to find 2 children last night. My 2 daughters, my grandson and my son are missing, together with my entire family.
The worst-hit village, El Rodeo, has been transformed into an ashen grey landscape. This was where many of the dead were caught off guard with no chance of escape. The lucky survivors have been left homeless and stunned as rescue workers carry the dead from the rubble. The scale of the eruption has made the work slow and difficult.
The challenges we face are that the volcano has been active, and also the difficulty of working with this kind of material, which is extremely hot.
Guatemala's president has toured affected areas and pledged his government's full support. So destructive was the eruption, almost 1% of the country's coffee crop has been wiped out. Guatemalans can only hope they won't see another eruption on this scale in their lifetime. Anne Barker, ABC News. Donald Trump has declared he has the absolute legal power to pardon himself in the Russia inquiry. Speaking on Twitter, the US president once again criticised the investigation into the 2016 election. And while Mr. Trump said he could pardon himself, he wouldn't because he has not done anything wrong. Here's Bill Schneider, political analyst and professor of government at George Mason University.
Most legal experts agree that he does not have the power to pardon himself. There's never been an official ruling on this by the courts, nor the Supreme Court. The closest we have to any kind of official statement was when Richard Nixon was about to resign in 1974. The acting head of the Office of Legal Counsel and Justice Department said that the president does not have the power to pardon himself. That's the only thing we have that represents an official ruling. It has not been tested in court. He thinks he is the law. He is the head of the executive branch of government. He has control over the independent counsel. He can fire the independent counsel because the independent counsel was appointed by the acting attorney general, and the president is the head of the executive branch, which controls the attorney general's office. He can fire the special counsel. He can do anything he wants. He can get rid of them all. In fact, Rudy Giuliani has made the point that the president of the United States cannot be indicted for a crime while he is president. That appears to be, there is a consensus on that. He can't be indicted for a crime. In fact, Giuliani said he could shoot James Comey in his office and kill him dead, and he could not be indicted for it. That is certainly true. He would have to be impeached and removed from office. Then he could be indicted. So if he committed some horrible crime, the burden would be on Congress, the House of Representatives, to impeach him, and the Senate to convict him, remove him from office. Then he'd be an ordinary citizen, and then he could be indicted for a crime. If Democrats gain control of the House of Representatives in November, they will impeach him within minutes. They will have an emergency meeting. He will be impeached. That doesn't mean removed. The Senate would have to vote to remove him, and there, of course, it depends on what the makeup of the Senate is. It requires a 2/3 vote. Right now, Republicans have a 1-vote majority. He is rallying his base. He's rallying his supporters. In politics, your base are the people who are with you when you're wrong. He may be very wrong, but there is a base out there ready to support the president. President Clinton had a base also, who stood with him in the Monica Lewinsky episode. Nixon had a base, it wasn't so strong, and eventually abandoned him. Trump is rallying his base for the election and for his own support, and he's showing that he's a fighter. Don't mess with me. If you punch me, he says, I'm a counterpuncher. I'm going to punch you right back in the nose. And that's exactly what he's doing. So far, almost all of the base is standing with Mr. Trump because they believe he's being harassed by his hereditary enemies. The Democrats, the special counsel, they think all these charges are bogus. Nothing has been proved. They are standing with their president. These are a lot of Republicans, but also other Trump supporters, independents from a variety of walks of life who support the president. They probably amount to no more than 25, 30% of the public. But they're there and they're with him.
They're there and
they're with him.
Scientists are hailing a new technique which has eradicated cancer in a woman with advanced breast cancer. They used a technique called immunotherapy to help kill cancer.